Now, we just talked about the nature of the BRS's politics, and you talked about how it is not a Velama party. But whatever kind of party it is, I'm also interested in the kind of politics RS Praveen Kumar is playing inside BRS, right? The last time you contested an election was the assembly election in Telangana, and you made a statement by contesting from a general constituency, right? And that's a very strong statement coming from an anti-caste. It has an entire history of anti-caste, sentiment. This thing of contesting from a general seat, and now there's this in Hyderabad. You're in Hyderabad. There's this saying, right? Mulla ki dawar masjid tak, which is that you're stuck again back in a reserved seat. And there's a difference in the way you play politics in a reserved seat as opposed to how you wanted to play politics in a general seat. In the general seat, what you were saying is that you wanted to consolidate the masses, the oppressed masses, against a small minority of oppressors. Now, in a reserved seat, you're up against people from the oppressed communities, whatever they may be. They may be good people, bad people, whatever, but they are nevertheless SC, right? You're going to be competing against SCs for the vote of the general population. And the general population could include Reddis, Velamas, people whose interests do not coincide with the interest of the oppressed. This whole change in Praveen Kumar's politics from seeking Bahujan votes, don't you think you'll now be in a reserve constituency, you'll be seeking upper caste votes?
No, I'll be seeking everybody's votes, not just
No, of course.
votes.
No. But the pathology, the tragedy of a SC, ST reserved constituency is that the candidate who wins from that, and this is an old reality of reserved constituency politics, which is that the candidate is always a consensus candidate of the upper caste. The least problematic person who threatens the upper caste least is the person who is agreeable to them, and that's why they elect them. How does that affect you now?
Very good question. Thank you so very much for asking this question. I think I must answer this question with all the sincerity and honesty. Yeah. So you're right. In those days, in olden days, people wanted, the yes men, and then there people who can do their bidding, and then people who can talk on their behalf, and then people who can listen to them, basically listen in inverted commas, and then the quotes. So, but the things have changed dramatically now. Most of the places, not all the places. I think it's again evolution. So in most of the places, not just marginalized communities, even the backward classes, other backward classes, even the so-called upper caste, the general category population, which are unreserved category, I would say. This is more scientific way of describing them. So unreserved category, and then the reserved category, and the OBCs and the tribes, they are looking for a candidate who can be their uncompromising voice. I'm also really surprised. They are not looking for somebody who can always prostrate before a master just to become an MLA or just to become an MP. No, they are not looking for such candidates. They are looking for a candidate who can be their voice in the constitutional bodies, be it an assembly or be it a parliament. So that way, I think we have come a long way in the evolution of politics, particularly the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe reserved constituencies. More and more educated people are joining the fray, and the electorate is preferring educated people to the illiterate, innocent, and yes-men who used to be, the trend in late 80s and then late 90s. But today, in this millennial generation and this 21st century, I think, the awareness levels have become certainly high thanks to the technology, and then thanks to social media, thanks to free internet, and thanks to higher per capita incomes, and then thanks to awareness about the rights, and thanks to the lot of movements that are happening on technology front, and then in the social media space. I think people are preferring a good candidate over the illiterate and then the submissive candidate. So the unreserved category, who have generally speaking, who have more control over the resources, more control over the politics in the villages, and then politics in the assembly constituencies, are left with no choice. For example, if you take my Nagar Karnool constituency, for example, so the guy who is pitched against me from BJP is an MBA, and another guy from Congress is also a doctor. So, and you only said he's a brother of a chief minister, a deputy chief minister, and another guy is a son of a former minister.
No,
and,
not just a former
Praveen
minister.
Kumar.
No, sir, not just a former minister. He was in the BRS, sitting MP
Sitting
from the
MP,
BRS.
yeah.
then-
Sitting MP, I'm sorry, sitting MP. And Praveen Kumar has been an IPS officer for 26 years, and then has been a leader of Bahujan Samaj Party till recently. So if they have to, it's a very difficult choice, for the people to make. But however, I'm hoping that, because of my track record, in my earlier avatar as a social welfare secretary, and earlier avatar as Bahujan Samaj Party, and then earlier avatar as a fighter for the rights of most marginalized people ever since I joined politics, I think I'm hoping that people would, vote me into parliament. That's a hope with which I'm working. But the general feeling about impression about this reserved constituencies, I think we need to slowly change our opinion about
that's one of the
these
most interesting things I've heard about reserve constituencies. This is the first time I'm seeing somebody describing it like this and saying that things are changing and these constituencies are not to be taken for granted. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.